If you're like me and you like using bolt actions more than you like winning, then I've got a video for you. Let's talk about how to optimize the ergonomics of a bolt action for at least semi-competitive play. So let's start with the long strike. I love the long strike, but it has a problem. Where the bolt rests is neither near the main hand or the offhand, and if you're going to use a big rifle, the advantage of a big rifle over just using a pistol or a more compact primary is that you can really stabilize it and you can line up your shot properly. If you're just doing this, then you're firing reasonably fast, but you're also wobbling and you're wasting shots. So if you're going to really play this the way it's supposed to be played, and you're going to line up your shots, then both your hands need to be in their proper positions when you fire. That means you've got a low rate of fire because either your main hand is going all the way back here and then fishing around for the trigger before you can fire again, or your offhand is coming way back here and then having to restabilize before you can fire. Neither of those are really optimal. Luckily, there is a solution on both ends, depending on which way you like to fire. If you want to use your offhand, then the Raptor Strike, as ridiculous as it generally is really good for this. What they've done is they've extended the distance between the main hand and the magwell so that your offhand can fit in here properly. If you look at a long strike, you can sort of do this, but it is really cramped. Maybe I just have giant gorilla hands, but I'm pretty sure this is cramped for anyone, right up against the back of the mag. And at this point, you're not really using a rifle so much as a big chunky pistol. So this doesn't really work for our purposes. But here, this is a good bit of space. This is a nice grip. And you can just feel where the bolt rests. It's almost right above the position of your offhand. And that's good design. That's good ergonomics. When you could just feel it, I'm like looking over here, but I can bring it around. That's good. And that's what you want if you're going to be priming with your offhand. You want something that rests right by it. If you want to prime with your main hand on the Raptor Strike, that's not good. And this does sort of help you snap into position, but when you're under fire or you're running, you're not going to be able to do this reliably every time. And you might even accidentally bump the mag release, which I'm not a huge fan of this style of mag release. It looks cool, but I've dropped heavy mags like 25s and stuff out of this thing because I accidentally hit it while I was trying to grab the trigger. So you definitely don't want to use it with the main hand. It's optimized for offhand. On the other end, you've got the Jupiter, which is optimized for main hand. I mean, you really can't use it with your offhand, but if you're using it with main hand, interesting observation about rate of fire. So this thing is supposed to be a traditional bolt action, meaning up, back, forward, down. There's a number of reasons that real bolt actions do this, but this isn't a real bolt action. You don't actually need to bring it up and down at all. From here, that works just fine. You can leave it up, so you can do a straight pull just like you do with these other bolt actions. But I found that it doesn't actually increase fire rate significantly and actually lowers the reliability and consistency of the fire rate. Here's why. Because the bolt sits right above the trigger, whenever you drop that bolt down, it's almost pointing at the trigger and your finger just naturally slides down off of it right where it needs to be. Maybe this is more a thing with my hands, but it works really, really well for me. I never have to look at where it is. I just automatically, no matter where I'm looking, I know that it's going to always put me right where I need to be. And that is a great design. So if I were to leave it up from here, and see, I just did it. I didn't even mean to, but my hand, because I feel the grip first, and that grip wants me to put my hand right here. I feel like the trigger should be back here, and it's not. It's just a little further forward. And so the time I saved by not having to go up and down is lost in me having to find the trigger and do that. So it's actually perfectly fine. The rate of fire difference is negligible. I did tests on both ends, and so I did the other two main hand and offhand rate of fire tests. The long strike, Neither of them were very fast, but the main hand, because it's closer to where the bolt rests, and that grooved kind of smooth trigger guard helps, I got a higher rate of fire with that, and the offhand was a bit slower. With the Raptor Strike, it's the opposite, understandably. The offhand is quite fast, actually the fastest of anything in this test, and the main hand was pretty slow. The Jupiter is the slowest overall out of all of them, but between the traditional bolt action and just the straight pull was only fractions of a second faster overall, so it's basically negligible. Under fire, or when you're running, or in actual combat, like when you get tired and you're not doing everything crisp and optimal, doing the drop and letting that guide your finger down onto it is actually a much better choice. So there you have it. If you choose to run these blasters and you enjoy them, I hope this video helped you do that a little better.